Sykler for barn. Jeg tenker, og jeg tror jeg nevnte tidligere, da kan du like gjerne bruke trehjulssykkel, altså.
Ja, men det hadde jo vært veldig gøy.
Det hadde vært veldig gøy. Ja.
Hyvät matkustajat, saavumme
Arrivederci. Tänä syksynä otamme kurssin kohti Italiaa, kohti herkkuja, rytmejä ja ihaninta yhdessäoloa. Tervetuloa! Benvenuti a tutti! Tallink.silja.fi. Kivointa yhdessä.
Good evening and welcome to Drakenheim. This is our weekly Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live stream campaign with the Dungeon Dudes. My name is Monty Martin, running the campaign as Dungeon Master.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin, playing Sebastian Crow, the half-elf shadow sorcerer. And we're joined today by our good friends.
Childenitis, playing Veo Senya, the Tabaxi Gloomstalker Ranger Rogue.
And Joe O'Gorman, playing Pluto Jackson, the Human Battle Master. Thank you for joining us once again. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, Kelly and I post new videos every Thursday on our YouTube channel, where we cover everything Dungeons & Dragons, including advice for Dungeon Masters and guides for players. Check us out at youtube.com/DungeonDudes.
You can also join us on Tuesday nights when we record the twitch.tv/dungeon_dudes. You can also watch all the previous episodes of this show on YouTube.
You can also find it as a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. We are still getting through the backlog, but we hope to have the entire series complete and uploaded by the end of 2019.
Of course, don't forget to look at the links below for our Teespring store, where you can find some of your favorites like our heroes, as well as any of your favorites of the Dungeon Dudes. Take a look at bit.ly/DungeonDudesMerch.
And finally, an extra awesome shout out to all of the wonderful friends and fans who came up and said hi to us at PAX Unplugged 2019.
So good.
We had a wonderful trip down in Philadelphia. We were so thrilled to be able to get to meet so many of you that watched the show, whether on YouTube or Drakenheim. It was a real treat.
So many people really enjoy using animate objects on gold coins. I heard that from so many people, and I'm so thrilled that all of you love that idea and are ruining your DM's plans with it.
Yeah, so a really huge thank you to those of you that came up and said hi to us during the con. It was a real highlight of the whole thing for us. Probably hands down, getting to meet folks that was the best part of PAX Unplugged, and it was a really awesome con. So with that, let's return to the ruins. Welcome to the ruins of Drakenheim. When last we left our heroes, they had made a valiant foray into the depths of Castle Draken, there defeating a monstrous multi-eyed creature guarding the pillar which binds the body and soul of Johann Eisner, the steward of Drakenheim and Veo's adoptive father. Our heroes explored the deepest depths of the castle and returned with a difficult choice before them. For it seems that there are several different solutions before them. monstrous creature rests on the throne of Castle Draken. A malevolent will, but only an appendage of an entity far beyond the mortal world. Severing this link alone will not end its threat, and thus our heroes are left with a difficult decision. Do they imbue Johann Eisner with the power of the seals of Drakenheim so that he may contain its threat? Do they seek to place an heir on the throne imbued with the power of the seals of the small council to wrestle with this malevolent will for gods know how long? Or do they head through the rift, potentially never returning themselves to this world? Having returned back to the camp outside Eckerman Mill, now a shanty town of palisades, tents, and small fortifications, where the forces of Caspia and Westamar, both the Hooded Lanterns, and many more remnants and assembled troops from several other noble houses have gathered and arrived over the past several days, and the forces of the Hooded Lanterns and the Caspians, as more of them have arrived in anticipation of the marching armies of Illyria. Reports have come in across the past few days of the approaching forces of the Illyrian army as well, that heads towards Drakenheim, intent on burning it to the ground, led by the High Paladin of the Silver Hierarch. And indeed, the reports that you've had so far, Leo, as Lord Commander, indicate that even now, as forces throughout Westamar attempt to assemble to meet this threat, others have defected to the Illyrians, believing the message and the missive of the Hierarch that the Warren family is the last colonized. So it seems that even the Illyrian forces may swell beyond what their initial expectations are. In the meantime, the ruins continue to be a more hostile environment than ever before, with the Ratlings preying openly on those who dare to walk the streets. Many of the patrols of the Hooded Lanterns have even given up on trying to explore the outer reaches of the city. There are some inroads that are still possible. It seems Shepherd's Gate have been abandoned. The gates hang open. The Ratlings don't have much interest in fortifications, instead preferring their underground burrows. And while the streets are empty for the most part during the day, during the night, no one moved.
So yes.
As
Oops.
Sebastian has spent days in insanity, conferring with this spirit of his mother in the worlds beyond. These reports have come into you, Veo. Paludo, increasing agitation from the Caspians. Talk from Saul Jackson of saying, "Why don't we just act? We should just get in there, charge forth, take the castle. What's left?"
Dad, it's not that easy. Dad, I give him like a okay boomer, sort of like, this is different magic we're dealing with, okay? There's a giant minotaur that sleeps. There's a, the defenses of the castle are still totally active. And there's no way, at least after conferring with Lucretia and your mom and Lenneth, like from the other worlds, I have serious doubts whether or not he can hold the throne. I do not wish to place a Caspian child in danger, but I don't know if we have other options.
Saul Jackson is almost red-faced, having had the heated conversation several times. George is a strong man. with a dedicated enough group of people, and the support of myself and River and perhaps one or two other mages from the academy, we may be able to shield our group long enough to get inside the castle walls. But at that point, we'll be fighting for our lives every inch of the way. We'll need a direction, we'll need a destination, we'll need somewhere that we can go to bring people and fortify that area, actually make some sort of inroad or fortify some area until we can fight our way through the situation. But we won't have long.
You're not just fighting against the creatures that are in there, though. You're fighting against the castle itself. And I doubt for long we'll be able to last by fortifying in here.
We can't. At the very least, the single greatest threat to bringing all of us there is simple. The haze and the effects of this sludge are unlike anything we've seen or studied before. It will mean that we will not find rest there. And the erratic magic that is in place around the castle, if it's anything like the erratic magics that are in place around the Academy Tower, it will mean that even magical transportation, teleportation, or effects that we could use to quickly get in and out.
Our lives more than we've already risked at this point, I think. It's up to us to figure out a way.
I don't think so.
Jupiter Jones interjects and says, "We're all risking our lives. If we don't do something soon, those damned Illyrians will be here, right on our doorstep, and then we'll have to make a decision. And if we hold any further longer, we'll have even more ratlings to cut our way through. We don't have time to make a calculated choice. Now is the time for action, and that's what Caspians are best at."
Oddly enough, for once, I'm going to agree with Jupiter Jones. I think
Thank you. I'm usually right.
you're making me regret this already, Jupiter.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Jupiter.
I think
Sebastian.
we're gonna need all the help we can get in that castle, and there could be more threats. And if we're dealing with that, I am worried, based on my initial glance at it, that it might be beyond just the three of us. We might need help, and why would we say no when, if we lose Drakenheim, everybody here loses Drakenheim, and everybody who wants to fight should have the right to fight for this city.
Elias Drexel chimes in and says,
I made a lot of mistakes in my time as Lord Commander. Things that I regret. But I won't regret going into that castle.
I think then we need at least some people to stay behind with the camp. But whoever wants to volunteer, we can't stop you.
if we can kill that thing on the throne, we can cement, or at least have whether we put Eric on, or George on the throne or not, it at least opens up the opportunity. Sebastian's right. But without killing that thing on the throne, we don't get anywhere.
But there's still the question of the thing on the throne is an appendage.
Well, after we kill the thing on the throne, we need to go through that portal. We need to kill whatever's on the other side. If that's the hand, we can't just chop off the hand. We need to kill the body.
Now, here's something I want to bring up.
Hello,
Pluto. I agree with you. But right now, time is of the essence. We need to act fast. And I think jumping, and as much as I'm willing to risk my life for Drakenheim and do what it takes, I think if we're just a tad smarter about this, cutting off the appendage will wound the creature, allowing us to potentially close the rift. I know that my mom told me to go down there and talk to Orcus and sell my soul, and I've been thinking about that. I'm going to tell you, it still sounds like a bad idea. It's my mom's wish, and I usually would just be like, all in on
Moms
it.
know best. Like, that's the thing.
I don't know if my mom knows best in this case. She wanted me to have power and do great things, and I think the greatest thing I can do is not just giving my life away to a devil that has, or demon who has corrupted and controlled. He's kind of responsible for rat.
How close are the, like, more than a week, less than a week. So we have Illyrians surrounding us.
Yeah, no problem.
We have rats infesting the city.
Yeah, and we're gonna need to be here. The three of us
We have
need
a
to be here.
Giant flesh monster living on the throne.
Hear me out.
I think,
Okay. You think what?
yeah,
I think if we cut off the appendage, close the gate, it will give the Amethyst Academy time to research the gate,
yeah.
and maybe we can find a way that you said yourself that we would go. You would come with me to find Mouse. I'll come with you to kill that thing once we can control.
Maybe we can put someone on the throne to fight back.
Lucretia Matthias speaks finally. She comments, "You can still put if he takes the sacrament, his will be strengthened. For behind his will be the will of the sacred fire. You have known, it is said, that from the darkest shadow is born the newest light, the greatest lights. The darkest shadows
I did say that.
dwell in the worlds beyond our own. And for untold ages, the sacred fire has held them at bay. But this is what has been prophesized. For in this rift, we could spill forth into the darkness and bring new light to worlds that have never seen it. That new age of heroes could be upon us.
Well, I do not look forward to
George,
snow.
With the
So
power
hopefully
that we
it's
have of
Not
the
gonna
flame
arrive, but
in
that's
his
snowy.
and
Will
soothe
probably start
even that
snowing
terrible
in
beast
November.
in time.
Here. If I'm lucky.
Give the flame the opportunity to spark
before.
a new ember.
Is George in the room? I'm looking around.
He is not.
George!
George, get in here.
Saul replies at that and says, Can we really ask the boy to do that?
You want him on the throne?
I think, yeah, like, I mean, as much as I'm worried about his health, like, at the end of the day, if I thought he could take over a castle, he should be able to decide whether or not he wants this responsibility. It's up to him. I can't make this choice for him.
Eldrick interjects. I think that is ludicrous. What? So, but some have
I'm
called you
going
back.
to work.
Whatever visions you have coming to you,
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
none can say truly for certain what power you might be giving that boy, and you've been remiss to allow any of us a sample of your golden delirium to discern its nature.
She gave me a sample. I studied it for a few hours. It's pretty crazy.
I remove Ignatius from its holder. This is the power of the golden delirium.
From what we've seen, it is like the opposite of delirium. And I'm wondering if not delirium that needs to go into the heart, but the opposite in order to tame this beast.
I know where you're coming from. And George is young. And putting him on the throne is dangerous. But the three of us will be there to help. And
Yeah, modern day times technology is quite nice. And the reason I can stream so much is because I'm using a SIM card from Telia. which I have gotten from my friend in Finland, since it has unlimited data. Well, I've arrived at work, so I'm gonna cut